Our story begins with a reporter trying to expose someone named Starkweather for unknown crimes and believes that in order to expose this Starkweather, she needs James Earl Cash, as it seems like he's the key to Starkweather's exposure. Sentenced to death for crimes we have yet to know, the future of Cash seems pretty dull. With no hope left, James awaits his execution. The reporter says on television that James was found guilty and was executed last night. However, all of a sudden, our protagonist Cash seems to be alive. Someone is trying to communicate with Cash, though the unknown voice is not good news, as it says that if Cash wants to stay alive, then all he needs to do is follow the voice. This, of course, is none other than Starkweather himself. James puts an earpiece on and goes outside. Unfortunately, our story is a wicked one, so the place is as wicked as it can get. We find ourselves in the streets of Carter City. There are street lamps keeping the hallways dimly lit. Other than rats, crows, and ghosts, there are no one to be found. The city used to be alive. America is full of rundown, broken, rust-belt towns where nobody cares and anything goes. In Carter City, nothing matters anymore, and all that's left are cheap thrills. The ultimate rush is the power to grant life and take it away for sport. Once a booming metropolitan is now nothing but dead and full of crimes, Starkweather gives Cash a heads up and instructs him to execute the person in front of him as brutally as possible. Being unaware of his surroundings, he becomes the first victim of Earl's brutal execution. These people are here to hunt down Cash. They are referred to as hunters. Each hunter has their own personalities and identification that makes them stand out from the rest. Sometimes it could be their lust, or other times it could be their cruelty that gives away who they are. For now, the hunters Cash needs to deal with are called hoods. This is a snuff ring. Snuff is a kind of movie where murder that is showed in it is real, and it's depicted in a pornographic manner. Starkweather is the one directing it, so the objective for Cash is to survive and hunt down these hunters as brutally as he can. Luckily, our protagonist has little to no problem in brutally murdering these hunters. As the journey continues, Starkweather keeps getting more and more material for his snuff, and it is being revealed that the more brutal Cash becomes when he executes someone, the more it pleases Starkweather sexually as he keeps masturbating to the kills. The situation gets worse when Starkweather begins to drag James's family into the production. He threatens James that he will kill his family one by one if he gets caught. Cash fights tooth and nail in order to get away and save his family. Once he saves all, Starkweather lets him proceed. But in the next scene, when he gives Cash a revolver to defend himself, he promises that by the end of it all, a prize awaits. James is instructed to find a VHS tape and to play it in order to receive the reward. Here, James again fights tooth and nail against the innocents and finds the VHS tape. After playing it, the betrayal is revealed. This is the point where Starkweather exposes himself as a complete liar, a corrupted man that will do whatever he needs to get whatever he wants. This makes James furious, and it's the first time we can see our protagonist show so much emotion. After a while of surviving and doing what Starkweather wants, it becomes clear that he will by the end kill Cash, despite what he says. As an attempt to kill Cash, Starkweather sends Ramirez after him, but Cash survives in the end by killing the Wardogs and Ramirez as well. Later, he tries to flee from the crime scene, but the reporter earlier finds him and escorts him out of there by giving him a ride in her car. Cash questions who she is, and she replies that she knows what is Starkweather up to, and that she plans to expose his secrets to the world. But in order for that to happen, she needs to reach her home safely, and on the way, cops are waiting for her. Starkweather had a connection with the cops, which is why it was so easy for him to get away with everything he did until now. Cash takes care of the cops and leads the reporter to her apartment, where he tells her that he is going after Starkweather to take revenge as he took away his family from him. On and on marches forward our doomed protagonist. It is certain that no matter what, he will never find closure, not after tonight. Even if he manages to make it out alive, he goes through the station and kills every cop and other authorities that gets in his path, until he was found by the Cerberus. They take him to the premises of Starkweather's mansion, and from here, Cash gets one step closer to Starkweather. He was probably kept alive just so he could be fed to Piggsy. Cash breaks out of the garage, where he was held captive, kills the remaining Cerberus, and gets inside the mansion, where he finds some more Cerberus to deal with. Ravaging through the place, he gets access to an elevator, which takes him even closer to his target. Here we meet Piggsy. Piggsy is an obese cannibal who has lost it all and is completely insane, but he is indeed no match for Killer Cash. After using the chainsaw and cutting Piggsy's hands off, Cash finds out that Starkweather is hiding in the next room. When he is done dealing with the last couple of Cerberus, Cash goes inside the room by destroying the doorknob with the chainsaw and kills Starkweather in the most brutal fashion. With that, the journey of our doomed protagonist comes to an end, and the reporter completely exposes Starkweather out in the television. But as far as the world is concerned, our hero is truly dead.
Send him to hell. Go on. Cash, I made you!
Acclaimed movie maker Lionel Starkweather has been found dead today, along with several of his bodyguards, at his estate at the Wapona Hills residential district. In what investigators are calling a bloody vendetta, an unknown assailant infiltrated the compound, killing Starkweather, but more interestingly, leading police to the site of a snuff film ring being run from the estate's confines. Linked to this ring is Carcer City's own police chief, Gary Schaefer, whose lawyer stated that he intends to plead not guilty.
Who is Starkweather exactly? Well, he is, or rather used to be, a Vinewood movie director. Vinewood is fictional Hollywood represented throughout the Grand Theft Auto and Manhunt universe. His movies would flop, which as a result would tarnish his reputation in the industry. This made him go completely insane, and he turned into making underground snuff and porn films, which he would then sell to certain Japanese businessmen. As the illegal snuff film business kept on going and growing, he found Valiant Video Enterprises, which would then work as the distributor of such films. Customers would go online and order these films, and Valiant Video Enterprises are the ones who would deliver the films to them. The head of the company was an individual who went by the name Mr. Nasty, with Lionel Starkweather as his most profitable director. This company is the one having the control over all the hunters in the city in order to produce the snuff films, which is its flagship product. They have connections made with the Carcer City Police Department, or CCPD. There are loads of security cameras, lights, preps, and other equipment littered throughout the city, which are all owned by Valiant Video Enterprises. Some of the production of this company is White Rabbits Down the Hole, starring the White Rabbit, The Tramp Who Knew Too Much, starring the Tramp, and of course, Manhunt, starring James Earl Cash. Other than finding Valiant Video Enterprises, Starkweather also exacted revenge on those who ruined his career by filming their murders in the video collection Director's Cut. He paid off the police chief Gary Schaefer, who then later pleaded not guilty. After some time passed, Starkweather bought a mansion in Wapona Hills, which was designed by the Las Venturas planning department. After the reporter gets on Starkweather, he sees her as an immediate threat and tries to get to her or capture her so he could be protected, which ultimately never happens. He finds information about James Earl Cash, who had a history of criminal violence. He is the one who bribed the police and prison officials to give James a sedative rather than a lethal injection. He ordered Ramirez, the White Rabbit, and among others to do the dirty work for him. Despite all the evil actions, Starkweather is a coward. Mr. Nasty is an ambiguous figure and the backer of the snuff ring. His real name, along with how he looks and also where he is from, is completely unknown. What happened to him after the events of Manhunt is also unknown. At the end of the game, Starkweather is killed, but the snuff ring still exists. The city is still as dangerous as it was, even though a lot of the dangers were exposed thanks to the reporter who worked alongside with Cash. Other than this simple artwork, he is completely unknown. There are rumors that Mr. Nasty might be the individual seen on the box art of the game, but such rumors were never confirmed. Among all the hunters, the first one is the Hoods. Like their name, they all wear hoods and cover their faces with ski masks. Their sole territory is the decrepit Kasper neighborhoods. They are taking part in the snuff ring because of the bounty prize rather than the violence which could be initiated on the bounty. They will attack the cops in order to protect their clients, which makes them have no connection with the cops. They have their tags around Kasper so they can define their turfs and they work as hitmen. Hoods have participated in other snuff films before Manhunt, which were all directed by Starkweather. Starkweather, however, has a low opinion of the Hoods, as in the beginning of Manhunt, he name-calls them and reveals to Cash how lowly he thinks of the Hoods. They were also told by Starkweather that Manhunt for Cash was just simply a sport rather than survival. Other than Cash, they also have rivalry with Innocence, another hunter gang, as in the scene View of Innocence, a dead Hood member is found and an innocent member comes out of that same toilet to kill Cash. At some point prior to 1992, the Hoods had some influence in San Andreas, particularly in the city of Las Venturas, as evidenced by the wanted posters of Hoods along with Cash appearing in the Las Venturas Police Department. They do not physically appear in the game Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, suggesting that what little territory they once held was probably lost. The Skinz are a hate group comprised of racist skinheads who adhere to a wide variety of white supremacist beliefs. Their turf is the Denton's City Junkyard. They're named after their skinhead culture. The Skinz are an archetype of neo-Nazi white power gang. Overall, they tend to work as packs and are very aggressive and willing to attack harshly. They partake in the hunt mostly for the sadistic violence. They are a Southern American hate group whose ideologies encompass a vast spectrum of white supremacist beliefs, which includes beliefs that are neo-Confederate, socially conservative, anti-immigrant, Aryanist, far-right, and Christian identitarian. The Skinz carry out their very own political agenda by shouting hate speech and committing acts of brutal violence, be it against perceived anti-whites, mixed race, or non-white people, or anyone simply at the wrong place, wrong time. They are very diverse in their vitriolic hatreds, but nonetheless do everything in pursuit of their vision of a purely white America. They also wear clothing with symbols that resembles the swastika. Before Manhunt, the Skinz worked on other projects of Starkweather, such as Hidden the Skinz, Skinz Skills Tactics 101, and recent film White Trash, named after Cash. Just like the Hoods, Starkweather dislikes the Skinz as well. The Wardogs are a criminal paramilitary gang primarily consisting of wannabe soldiers and alleged army veterans, with one of them claiming to be an ex-Navy SEAL. They are led by Ramirez. They are the third hunter gang Cash comes across. Based in the neglected Carcer City Zoo, the Wardogs are the most dangerous and efficient killers on Starkweather's payroll. They consist of ex-military special forces and obsessive hunters for hire. A few members stay true to their military backgrounds and often communicate in special forces code phrases, but others lack actual knowledge, so they improvise. They are experts in both tactics and weaponry. Their preferred tactics are ambushes, baiting, and luring, and full-on frontal assaults. Despite their training, their animal instincts sometimes take over while pursuing prey, and they become noisy and highly excitable. Take no prisoners is their motto, and they hunt their prey with a viciousness matched by none. Before Manhunt, they collaborated on films such as Who Let the Wardogs Out and Wardogs: The Untold Story. Their leader Ramirez is also represented them in one of Valiant Video's snuff films titled Let's Play Ramirez Says. Ramirez is the secondary antagonist of Manhunt. He leads the Wardog and is somewhat of a military man himself. His preferred weapon of choice is the sniper rifle and shotgun. However, little is known about his life. He appears multiple times in Manhunt, and every single time he threatens Cash, whether directly or with his army of Wardogs, he has a dog tag on his neck, and it seems that he is actually from the army. He offers his Wardogs $10,000 for exterminating Cash in the scene Divided They Fall. In Manhunt, all hunters are executable, meaning Cash can go behind the hunters and kill them either brutally or extremely brutally. However, Ramirez is the only exception. It does not matter if Cash goes behind him, as he will not let Cash attack him at all, which further shows that he is probably genuine military with the knowledge of CQC basics. Ramirez may be inspired by the real-life serial killer Richard Ramirez. Besides borrowing his last name, the former's implied military background was also borrowed from the serial killer who was taught skills in jungle warfare by his older cousin, a Vietnam War veteran, and a Green Beret who was just as violent. Richard would apply these skills that he learned to become the serial killer that he became during the early 80s in the USA, and also a sex offender as well. Innocence mainly consists of Mexican thugs carrying machete, knives, shotgun, and other weapons. However, the reasoning behind their gang name is wicked. There are the Innocence division of babyfaces who are named as such because of the doll masks that they wear as a self-expression of their twisted nature relating to children, such as their sexual attraction to children or their intellectual disability that retards their mind to that of a child's, which gives away their pedophilia. Their names are unknown and are not original members of the gang, as they were hired by Starkweather. What separates the Innocents from the other gangs is that because they were hired by Starkweather, they did not participate in other productions of his films. He also supplied them with revolvers to take out cash. Those revolvers are bought from a black market supplier who stole them from a police armory convoy. They also have rivalry with the Hoods, as a dead body of a Hood member can be found in the toilet before the end of the scene view of Innocents. Though the Innocents have no leaders, they are sometimes ordered by Ramirez.
You, get out to the graveyard. You, I want you up there. And I want you to follow him over to the mall. Now fucking move!
So, how are we doing, Cash? Enjoying it so far? I thought you could do with a little R&R, so I've arranged a special screening. Just for you. It's work in progress, but I think you'll appreciate it. I've hidden a tape and a video camera in the mall. Find them. By the way, these guys are packing heat, so you might want to find a gun for yourself. Beautifully done, Cash. Now just toddle back up to the bar and enjoy the show. You must understand, Cash. I could never let them go. Where were your family when you were facing your final moments in the chamber anyway? You've left your old life, your old self behind. I'm all the family you need now.
Where do you think you're going, man? Huh? Huh? What the fuck? You think you're tough? Think you're tough? I'll rip your fucking head off! Don't you wanna play anymore? You like hide and seek? You like hide and fucking seek? Well, we're coming for you, asshole.
What's the matter, little boy?
Ready or not.
It's our turn now.
Run! Run! If you don't find him soon, I'll shoot you myself. He's making fools of us! Get out there and find him! Start with it. I see the scrawny bastards.
Who are you? I've seen your face before.
Get off of me! I'm a reporter! I was at your execution!
Keep talking.
I've been following Starkweather's operation for months.
Who's Starkweather?
The guy that's been talking you through this whole circus of death? Look, I've got all I need to expose that sick bastard, but he's definitely on to me now. So I have to get back to my apartment, collect my material, and get out of town before I become another one of Starkweather's extras.
You can bring him down? This Starkweather?
Absolutely. This is gonna make my career.
Okay, let's go.
Huh?
To your apartment. Drive!
We've lost. What? Now you fucking... Oh, shut up and get some of your boys to take care of it. Don't file the arrest report. Don't kill him either. Send both to me.
Hey, remember who you're talking to, you son of a...
Listen, you fuck, it's your job to clean up the city's mess. That's what you get paid for.
Shit.
Okay, pull over here.
But it's another block or two to my apartment.
Just shut up and stick with me if you want to stay alive.
The fifth hunter gang introduced to us in the world of Manhunt is the Smileys. We first meet them at the Darkwood Penitentiary. In fact, they are the insane inmates. They wear masks which resembles a smile. Thus, they call themselves the Smileys. They are insane serial killers and also sadists who take pleasure in hurting and torturing their victims. They were set loose by none other than Starkweather himself. Also, they are much smarter as hunters than the Wardogs. The executable icon of Manhunt is a Smiley wearing his mask. They don't have any leaders, but in the scene, Kill the Rabbit, Cash is introduced to the White Rabbit. He is tasked to follow the rabbit if he wants his freedom, which later on turns out to be a trap. It was Starkweather's play to get Cash killed. Unfortunately for Starkweather, Cash kills the rabbit and the Cerberus later on, coming in his path. Not much is known about the rabbit other than the fact that he was an actor in Starkweather's films. From the sound of his voice, it is most likely that he is a white guy. He dresses up as a rabbit, and it's a reference to the in-universe show Frankie and the Freaks, which is explored a bit more in Manhunt 2. The Cerberus are the final group of hunters Cash faces in Manhunt. They are a private militia contracted and hired by Starkweather to protect himself. They are very secretive about themselves. They are the most dangerous group of hunters as they are not insane or psychotic like the others. They are professionals, so they carry military-issued weapons at all times. They check shadows by firing their guns at it in order to see whether Cash is hiding in it or not. Unlike the Wardogs, they are much more civil about their operations. Also, another thing that separates the Cerberus from the rest is that they know exactly who Cash is and what he excels at. They also guard the mansion of Starkweather. Starkweather has personal Cerberus guards carrying the keys to his basement. He has them placed all over the house to look for Cash. They also have the surveillance to detect whether Cash is hiding or not. Lastly, they are responsible for feeding Piggsy, a task they find both disgusting because of Piggsy himself and gratifying because of his humiliation. Piggsy is a mentally ill obese man. He is seen wearing a tarred pig mask. He is also a cannibal, and the Cerberus are the ones who feeds him. His preferred weapon for hunting is a chainsaw. However, very little is known about Piggsy on how he became a deranged mass murderer, but he did appear in other Starkweather films before Manhunt, such as Piggsy's Greatest Hits and Pigsy's Bloopers. He was a snuff film actor and professional killer working for Starkweather, but as fate would have it, at some point he lost his mind entirely, turning to an animalistic lifestyle and being locked in the attic of Starkweather's compound, where he was fed human carcasses and flesh, when he proved to not be able to take orders anymore due to his mental state. He runs around completely naked with dried and fresh blood on his body. There is one thing that also makes him a standout character. Unlike others in Manhunt, at the final scene Deliverance, Starkweather orders the Cerberus to take out both Piggsy and Cash as they were running around in his premises, making Piggsy and Cash both his enemy. Piggsy is the boss fight that Cash needs to do right before he takes out Starkweather with Piggsy's chainsaw. The fight is also 2 phases long. The reporter or journalist is the first character we come across in Manhunt. She's the one trying to expose Starkweather for his snuff ring, but she was also trying to expose him for personal gains. She discovered that Cash's execution was actually fake. She started to look for clues, and soon enough she found out that Cash is not dead and somehow the cops were involved. In the end of the scene Divided They Fall, she arrives to take Cash and escort him out of that place. In her red blister, she explained to Cash that she has been investigating this entire thing from the start and wants to expose Starkweather, which made her and Cash have common goals, as Starkweather also killed Cash's family. Cash kills the cops in front of the journalist's house and helps her get in the apartment where she has all the evidence to expose Starkweather and the whole snuff ring of Kasper. In the apartment, she offers Cash for escaping, but Cash declines as he wants to kill Starkweather for personal reasons. He even says to the journalist that she is his only backup if he never makes it out alive. By the end of Manhunt, Starkweather is dead. What happened to the journalist after Manhunt ends is unknown.
Everything I need is in that box under the table.
Good. Take it and get out of town.
But you're not coming with me?
I'm going to deal with Starkweather personally. Thank him for my second chance. You're my backup if I don't make it. Have a nice life.
The Monkeys are a bonus hunter group that has no connection with the actual lore of Manhunt, which is why they only appear in the bonus scenes. The CCPD or Carcer City Police Department and SWAT are regular corrupted cops and law enforcement members. They follow Starkweather as he keeps them in paycheck, which is why they are after Cash as he gets closer and closer to Starkweather. The head of the police department is Gary Schaefer, who is being paid by Starkweather to work for him. James Earl Cash is the protagonist of Manhunt. He is given a second life as he is saved from the death row. He is offered freedom in exchange of performing in a snuff ring and surviving it. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work out for him as everyone around him is either evil or is working against him. Only the journalist is in his favor. Why exactly Cash ended up in the death row is unknown, but it's clear that he is an experienced killer with absolutely no remorse. Cash is someone that kills brutally and violently but seeks absolutely no joy in it. He is doing it because he has no choice and needs to survive, which is why he follows Starkweather and does whatever he wants him to do. During his killings, Starkweather expresses his sexual pleasures that he gains when Cash kills someone brutally. He also expresses his hatred towards the gang member that Cash hunts down as he sees them very lowly. But slowly and surely, Starkweather threatens Cash's family and gives him an illusion of saving them. In reality, he kills off everyone. Cash is not a psychopath as he works with the journalist, who he realizes is nothing but a civilian, and because she also has the same interest and goals as Cash, he decides to cooperate with her. Alongside her, the only one Cash cooperates with is the tramp, but that is only because Starkweather wanted him to. He was not close with his family, but he did care about them as he took revenge on Starkweather because he killed his family. At the end, Cash takes his revenge on Starkweather and kills all who gets in his path. But what happens to Cash after the events of Manhunt is unknown. Maybe he is finally at rest, knowing that the nightmare is over and the sun is up once again. The only time Cash is ever mentioned or referenced is in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, where his picture can be found in a police station, which is referencing that he might be in San Andreas. It's a dark and rainy night. We are at an asylum. patients are running around and the authorities are trying to keep them in regulation. All the while, we see an old lady using an injection on one of the inmates, who then attacks the lady and strangles her till she is unconscious. He pulls out that injection and another inmate looks at him and plans to escape the asylum. The insane individual is Daniel Lamb, and the person talking to Daniel is Leo Kasper. Leo instructs Danny to follow his orders and everything will be fine. So he has no choice but to follow what Leo says, as he needs to escape the asylum and survive. After sneaking past a couple of inmates, he sees a nurse in his path where Leo tells him that he has no choice but to kill the nurse if he wants to live. Daniel uses the syringe nearby and executes the nurse on the place. Since he was not used to killing people, he vomits and expresses how sick he felt doing that. The whole place becomes a mess as more and more inmates keep getting out of their cells, and the nurses try to find Daniel amidst of it all. Daniel keeps listening to Leo and kills everyone in his way, and finally he manages to escape the hospital. After that, he feels the importance of his past, as he doesn't remember what his life used to be before being stuck in the asylum, and to know that, he needs to go back to his old house. Daniel tells Leo that he needs to go there because there is a drug that will clear his head, which means Leo does not want Daniel to remember what his life used to be. He just simply wants Daniel to go in the house to clear his head. But why would Leo want to help a random inmate? Well, for now, Daniel survives the night by killing the Watchdogs and getting to the house, where he finds the syringe that he was looking for. He keeps getting flashbacks to a woman and children in that house. He also finds the name Judy, which hints him to go to a strip club. This is where he finds Judy Sender, who tells him that he needs to go to the motel to find more about his past and gives him a key. As he keeps moving forward, he gets closer to the truth. He finds out that 6 years ago his friend Michael was killed by Leo because the project used him as a bait. As he keeps digging, the truth gets revealed. He finds it through Laura Whyte that Leo is not a real person. It is simply a latent personality that is planted in Daniel's brain. Daniel's wife did not want him to agree with the project's proposal, but because of money, Daniel did it anyway. The project used to be funded by the government, and it was called the Pickman Project. It wanted to create super soldiers by removing the conscious part out of the brain and leave it with no remorse. That's why the killer Leo was born. Leo was the personality of a killer with absolutely no remorse and someone who acts as ordered. No guilt whatsoever. Daniel was the test subject, but the project offered Daniel a lot of money, through which Daniel's children would live happily. The dream shatters as Daniel kills his wife by the influence of Leo. Worse, after he is done killing, he sits in his sofa and watches the television as if nothing has happened. After Daniel gets to know what happened to his wife by the help of Laura Whyte, he immediately recognizes how much of a problem Leo has been. Here, he has to fight Leo in his mind and get rid of him. Depending on what the player chooses to do in the gameplay, there are two endings. If the player decides to kill innocent civilians more often, the bad ending occurs, where one must play as Leo in Daniel's mind and has to kill Daniel. In that way, Daniel's soul is dead, and what is left is Leo in Daniel's body. However, Not killing too many civilians or not getting 5 style points in each mission will trigger the good ending. In this ending, Daniel kills Leo in his mind, which makes him free of Leo and he can finally be himself. He wakes up in the middle of nowhere and forgets what his real name was. But after awakening, he finds a folder beside him where his new name, David Joyner, and a new address, 526 Hope Street, Apartment B. It is also the first and only time the sun appears in the Manhunt franchise, which also indicates the good ending.
Keep moving, we haven't got much time. We have to get to the house.
Wait a minute. I used to live around here.
Not anymore, Danny, but there's something in that house we need. Something you left for yourself. We've got to be quick. This is the first place the project will look for us.
Wait, how do you know all this?
Danny, listen. It's a manhunt. And they won't stop until we're both dead. Go ahead.
Leo?
That's right. But we don't have time to reminisce. Getting out was just the beginning, Danny. The project can't let us live. They can buy a private army if they want to, and they will.
Why did I leave myself these?
You know this place. The project recruited here. They preyed on people, made them disappear. We shouldn't be here.
No, I need to be here. There's someone I need to speak to. I saved these matches for a reason.
This is not important. It's a distraction.
I want my past back. This is all I have to go on.
The past doesn't matter. Let it go.
I'm going to find a way in.
Who's down there?
Oh, shit.
I told you we shouldn't be here. Are you trying to get us killed?
Well, it's too late to back out now. Let's move.
You shouldn't have come here, Danny.
You know my name?
They'll catch you, take you back.
Tell me what's going on.
It's the project, Danny. They're everywhere.
What's going on? Leo said I should...
Leo? You've spoken to Leo?
Without Leo, I wouldn't even be here.
Okay, you told me to give you this. The old safe house.
Safe house? Where?
Above the cinema. Don't come back here, Danny. Please, just let it go.
She's setting us up, Danny.
The Pickman Bridge! Remove it. Get it out of my head so I can think straight.
If you thought I would do that, you're out of your fucking mind.
Michael? Where are we?
All units into position. Terminate both targets. Repeat, both targets.
What? Not both targets, not me, you fucking assholes!
They're gonna be here any minute. Mike's still got the keys. We're gonna have to find him.
Wait.
You just fuck the project! I quit! I quit! Maniac! Stop hiding!
Keep it together, Danny.
I can't handle these blackouts.
It's all right. I'll take care of everything. Come on, let's get going.
Hello? Where is that idiot of a man?
That's him. That's Pickman.
Pickman?
Subject A is far too dominant. If we take the bridge out now, the latent personality will be lost forever.
I know, you fool. I invented it. But these results are not nearly good enough. Shut it down. Danny, don't listen to Lee. You don't have to do this.
become a bigger killer than I ever could. I'm fucking proud of you, brother.
Good work, Danny. I'll take it from here. You can be a little squeamish.
Daniel? Daniel, please untie me.
Danny isn't here.
Leo. Where's Daniel? I'd like to have a word with him.
This is about what I want. I want you to remove the Pickman bridge.
Think, Leo. If I take it out, what do you think will happen to you?
I'll be free.
No, you'll be dead. Now let me speak to Daniel.
Shut up! Danny's gone.
Shut up or what, Leo?
What do you think?
If you kill me, Leo, you'll be lost forever. Now let me speak to Daniel.
You're lying.
It only takes one phrase from me, Leo. Don't push me.
Or what, huh?
What seest thou else in the dark, backward and abysm of time?
Michael, is he ready to go?
Motor muscles at rest. Pupillary dilatation complete.
Dr. Whyte, pass me the sample carrier marked Leo.
But we agreed to use the control personality, not Leo. Leo is a killer.
Yes, I know what Leo was. Now, we've got one chance to make this work before they shut this project down.
Okay, Dr. Pickman. He's ready to go.
Leo?
You can talk to Leo anytime you want, Danny. But first, let's you and I talk.
What's going on?
Do you remember who you were, Danny?
No.
Do you remember the work we did?
No.
You believed we could take a normal individual and implant a second personality, triggered at will. Our intention was to create the perfect weapon, a killer with no conscience or memory. Does he sound familiar, Danny?
Leo.
Two minds in one body unaware of each other.
Wait, that's not right. Leo and I talk all the time.
The bridge malfunctioned early on. We were working to repair the damage when you, or Leo, decided to escape.
I see. How do we fix this?
Pickman thought his mercenaries could destroy Leo. I believe the only person who can stop him is you. I know it's difficult, Danny, but you must go back to that night. I need you to remember.
You heard the APB, people. That serial killer from the plaza is headed for our happy little community. I want you looking in every garbage can, mailbox, and goddamn treehouse for this guy.
I've got some unfinished business here, Danny. Something I need to do alone.
Do your homework.
Go to the safe house and wait for me there.
What then?
Freedom, my man. Freedom.
Daniel, you will not remember anything before this moment. You will not remember us being here. You will never speak to Leo again. A little too effective, I feel. Get him out of here. Remove the cameras, torch the house.
I
can't do this. I can't just dump Leo, Dr. Whyte. He saved my life.
Your only way out of this is to focus on the past.
I still don't understand. What is all this stuff? Is this my house?
Yes, it was torched. Pickman's orders.
And those were my kids?
Yes, and they are fine, by the way.
And my wife? What?
This is going to be painful, Danny, but I think you should see for yourself. This will help you understand why you must let go of Leo.
Jesus, Danny, you're scaring me! Danny! Let go of me, Danny!
Danny isn't here. I'll be taking care of him from now on. Gosh, you fucking bitch! You bitch!
Think you can get rid of me? You goddamn runt. I'm the one who belongs here, who deserves to be here. You're nothing. Without me, you'd be nothing.
I just have to ignore you, Leo. And you know it.
Ignore me? How about your wife's blood on your hands? Can you ignore that?
Shut up.
You made me. You put me in your own head for the sake of your pathetic career.
Shut up!
And you cut your wife's throat right in front of her baby boy.
Ah! Fucking kill you, you psycho piece of shit!
Fuck you, Danny. I won. Fuck you, Pickman. Fuck you, Whyte. Fuck the project. I won.
Daniel. You can wake up now, Daniel. Dr. Lamb, can you hear me? Dr. Lamb, how do you feel? I followed the protocols exactly as you left them.
How long was I out?
You've been out for 3 weeks now. I took the decision to remove the Pickman Bridge. It was the only way we could be sure. We're very keen to resume work on the project. Shall I gather the staff?
Yes. Just give me a moment.
You think it's that easy to get rid of me? I made you.
I could be you, but I have a choice. A choice! And I choose to be me!
Who the fuck wants to be Daniel Lamb?
I do! I do! You hear me?
You see? Can't get rid of me. Can never.
My name is Daniel Lamb. My name is Daniel Lamb!
My name is... I don't know my name. Your name is David Joyner. You live downtown at the following address. You'll find everything you need there. Good luck. 526 Hope Street, Apartment B.
The Pickman project was named after Dr. Pickman, who is the founder and head of the project. The project started off being funded by the government, but due to cruel and controversial working methods, cut all ties with the project. After that, Dr. Pickman went underground to continue his work and research. He is a cruel person who does not care about the lives he will ruin and has ruined. To him, all that matters is his work, the Pickman project. He created the Pickman Bridge, the final product of his project, which would implant a separate personality with an expertise in killing into an unknown subject. Pickman never demonstrates fear of Leo Kasper, not even when he is at his mercy. Using codes hidden in the broadcasts of a television station that the project runs, the subject's separate personality would trigger and perform their duty, afterward reverting back to the subject's real personality. Danny was the first successful recipient of the Pickman Bridge, but after the bridge malfunctioned and Leo proved to be uncontrollable, Pickman ordered to have Danny captured. After Leo killed Danny's wife, Pickman and the project found Danny in Danny's house. Thinking the experiment is a little bit too effective, Pickman told Danny that Danny will not be able to remember anything before this moment. After that, Pickman ordered 2 of his helpers to have Danny's house torched. Daniel was then locked away into the Dixmor asylum for 6 years, while Pickman and Dr. Whyte worked to undo the damage. Later on, when Danny discovers the truth, Leo takes over and kills off Pickman, which is quite poetic, as Leo became so effective that he killed his creator with no remorse whatsoever. He stabs Pickman in the heart with a scalpel. In both Manhunt titles, the villains die by the hands of what they created. Leo Kasper is a man who was also put in the asylum by the project, as he is a violent psychopath. He is also a former government agent and has expertise in combat, infiltration, and assassination techniques. His identity was taken by the project and implanted into Daniel Lamb, while he remained separated from Daniel's own mind by the Pickman Bridge. However, the Pickman Bridge itself was not perfected, so Leo was able to interact with Daniel and use him as a puppet. His personality also took over at times when it was not called upon, causing Daniel to become a ruthless killer against his will. He helps Danny escape the Dixmor asylum and teaches him his own well-honed tricks of the trade, as Daniel perceives Leo as another real person. Leo tries to take over Daniel completely, even threatens him when Daniel tries to get rid of him. Depending on the ending, Leo either takes over Daniel and becomes his true self in Daniel's body, or is defeated by Daniel and gets completely erased from his memory. He was the one who killed Daniel's wife and also killed his friend Michael. Judy Sender is a scientist who works for the project in Manhunt 2. Judy only appears in the episodes Sexual Deviance, Bee's Honeypot, and in Most Wanted as a flashback. Judy seems to be nothing but a recruitment agent and operations supervisor for the project, as she is never shown in the project laboratories or mentioned by the other key characters. She works at the strip club and fetish dungeon and Bee's Honeypot brothel. After noticing a book of matches with Judy's name on it in his former house, Daniel Lamb seeks out Judy as he believes she is able to help him remember his past. When Daniel finally catches up to Judy at the terrace of the brothel, she begins to tell him not to trust Leo, but before she can continue, she is shot in the heart from behind and falls to her death. It is currently unconfirmed if she was murdered either by a watchdog, a brothel employee, or a bloodhound, although Leo claims it is the project militia. Another reason for killing off Judy might be because she tried to resign from the project and so was seen as a liability. Dr. Laura Whyte is a high-ranking medical practitioner within the Pickman project and was a co-worker of Daniel Lamb. She often disagrees with Dr. Pickman's methods, including hiring mercenaries to kill Danny and Leo. She believes that Danny should be captured alive and cured of Leo with the removal of the Pickman Bridge. Dr. Whyte at first worked only in the project laboratories along with Dr. Pickman, Michael Grant, Dr. Daniel Lamb, and the project scientists. During the surgery to implant the Pickman bridge, she does not approve the use of Leo's personality and unsuccessfully attempted to convince Dr. Pickman to use another one. After the murder of Dr. Deborah, she also went to Dixmor Asylum trying to undo the damage on Daniel and the other failed test subjects. Sometime prior to the events of the game, Dr. Whyte also was to give a lecture on mind control, as ads for it can be found in Origins. Despite being a high-ranking project official, Dr. Whyte is either unaware or cannot oppose the atrocities committed by them, with Judy Sender and Dr. Pickman himself doing all the dirty work. She is the one being strangled at the beginning of Manhunt 2, and she's the one who helps out Daniel towards the end of Manhunt 2. Michael Grant was the best friend and co-worker of Daniel Lamb. Just like Danny, Michael worked for the project and was a high-ranking scientist. Michael was involved in implanting Leo Kasper into Danny's mind. However, when Leo tries to take over Danny's mind, the project uses Michael as bait and has him meet Danny at Blackwell Island, home of the Fisto Sugar Factory, where Danny threatens him at gunpoint in an attempt to make him remove the Pickman bridge. When Danny reverts back to himself, Michael knocks the gun out of his hand and into the water and then grabs a flare gun from the deck, aiming it at Danny. The project militia then arrive in helicopters and decide to eliminate both Danny and Michael. So Michael hides in the factory where Leo chases him. Michael took advantage of the militia arrival, grabbed the flare gun from Leo, and ran away with boat key. Leo followed Michael, yelling at him to drop the key, but Michael refused. Unfortunately, Leo surrounded and murdered him in order to get the key. Michael Grant died being the only project member Leo tried to spare, for Danny's sake. Later, Dr. Whyte revealed the death of Michael in her first therapy session with Daniel, which made him collapse out of sadness. This made Daniel ask Leo if he was really the one who killed Michael, causing the flashback of the episode Best Friends during the events of Manhunt 2. Mrs. Lamb is a key character in Manhunt 2. She was the wife of Daniel Lamb and lived as a regular suburban housewife with her husband and 2 children. As the wife of Daniel, Miss Lamb was aware about the project's research to some degree and does not approve of Daniel subjecting himself to his own studies. She is also distraught over the situation. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to stop Daniel from becoming a volunteer. The project had hidden cameras in Daniel's residence to observe his actions. After the burning of the files in the project's warehouses, Leo Kasper thought Mrs. Lamb should be silenced because she knew too much and wanted to erase Daniel's past. She was murdered by Daniel, controlled by Leo, in front of their son, and buried at the Wary Pines Cemetery while Daniel was taken to Dixmor Asylum. Daniel was a scientist with the Pickman project but ended up locked away in the Dixmor Asylum for the criminally insane for 6 years. As a result of the experiments, there is an alternate identity inside of his mind by the name of Leo, a psychopathic killer who helps Daniel in killing everyone the project sends after him. Daniel was born on May 29, 1963, and lived in San Fierro until he graduated from San Fierro University in 1988 with a degree in biochemistry. A year later, he found work as a lab technician for Green and Becker Pharmaceuticals Inc. and worked there for 3 years. In 1992, he became a research associate for Mackenzie Druckner Inc. until he began working for the Pickman project. He became one of the top scientists for the project and invented a drug called Cortexa. He was married and had 2 kids, a girl and a boy, but at some point went into great debt and volunteered for an experiment, which his wife would disapprove of. He had a second identity planted in his mind, artificially called Leo, during the experiment, to which Leo would be taking over Daniel's mind later on due to the mistake the project made during the development. Compared to the protagonists of Rockstar's other titles, Daniel is vastly different. being calm and gentle, showing much more remorse for his victims, unlike Leo or James Earl Cash, and vomits after his first execution. He also expresses anger at Leo at some points. However, as the game progresses, he gets more and more addicted to it, a sign that Leo is taking over his mind, forcing Dr. Whyte to cleanse his memories at the end of the game. He shows great care for his family and volunteers for an experiment just to support them, which is why after Leo takes over and he finds out that he killed his own wife because of the choices he made, he gets very angry on Leo and kills him in his mind. After that, he forgets his real name and is given the name David Joyner as an alias. He also finds out his real address, and after that, he walks off into the sunrise. The Orderlies, Dixmor inmates, and the Legions are all introduced in the first episode. Orderlies are the ones who oversee the patients of the asylum. There is not much to say about them other than the fact that they do their job because of the money, but they abuse their patients and use over-medication to keep them at control. Daniel's first kill is also an orderly. Other than being brutal, they don't have a lot of skill in combat and does not appear as much of a threat to Daniel. The Dixmor inmates are completely insane individuals. They find both the orderlies and Daniel as hostile, which is why they are seen fighting with everyone in the asylum. They are all subjects of the Pickman project. Daniel is the only one that turned out to be a success while the rest were admitted in the asylum. Not much is known about the Legions except that they are mentally disturbed inmates that spend their time roaming around the Dixmor hospital. They seem to be failed Pickman Bridge experiments. Some are heard saying biblical phrases, while others keep asking for their head to be fixed. They appear in the episodes Awakening and Release Therapy. The Watchdogs starts to appear from the second episode. They are caught guarding the area around Daniel's residence, which is a clear indication that they knew Daniel would go to his old house after escaping the asylum. The Watchdogs around the area covers their faces and they wear black suits. Crowbar seems to be a weapon of choice for them, which Daniel takes after killing one and uses the same one to open the door to his house. They are professional hitmen, closely associated with the Pickman project. As Leo also describes them, the project's cleanup crew. They are ordered to capture Daniel alive so the project can get control of Leo following Daniel's captive. Just like their name suggests, they hunt in packs. They are trained assassins who wear black gloves so that they leave no forensic evidence behind. Other than the crowbar, nightstick, and the stun prod are also their weapons of choice. The Pervs are a gang made up of sexual deviants, sadistic perverts, and pedophiles that appears in the third episode. They are a gang whose primary role in the project is recruit ideal test subjects from the red light district, especially their underground sadomaso club. Since the early days of the project, the gang has come into its own as an autonomous underground society that pursues extreme hedonistic experiences, which include various illegal sexual and combative events, including cannibalism, torture, pedophilia, and other taboos. They are made up of hardcore sexual deviants, psychopathic perverts, snuff filmers, and pedophiles who are all motivated by the thrill of the hunt and the potential for violent sexual release. They are a vicious gang who have no boundaries or standards and would rather taunt, intimidate, and torture their prey than just flat out kill them. Unlike other gangs, they lack any sort of military or combat experience, but make up for it with an enthusiasm for sheer sadism and perverse cruelty. The gang's minor businesses are snuff films and a porn shop named the Velvet Glove. The Red Kings only appear in the scene Red Light. Baseball bat and pliers are their weapon of choice. Just like their name, they wear red hoods and roam around the streets of Cottonmouth. They are a danger to everyone, including the civilians around the area. Some of their dialogue does reveal their necrophiliac nature. Other than that, nothing is known about them. Cops and SWAT are the corrupt authorities of Cottonmouth. The Cottonmouth Police Department are based on New Orleans Police Department because they have a patch similar to them, blue uniforms as well as similar hats. They are responsible for enforcing the law and maintaining safety within their districts, while some nicknamed rent-a-cops can be hired as security guards. Their main motivation is the money. There's also some cops that just enjoy the satisfaction of putting away criminals and giving them a beating as they do it. Bloodhounds appear in the episodes Most Wanted, Broadcast Interrupted, and Altered State. The Bloodhounds are an organization hired by the project to capture Danny and Leo. The group is made up of bounty hunters, war veterans, obsessed deer hunters, redneck thugs, and white supremacists. The Bloodhounds clearly appear to be stereotypical rednecks, judging from some members wearing Confederate flag bandanas and Ku Klux Klan styled masks, as well as featuring southern accents. They are also very racist, considering Danny to be subhuman despite him being a Caucasian. They express deep contempt for liberals and anarchists. They do their job mostly for the money, but also for the fun of hunting. They are also in it out of a patriotic loyalty to America, often calling Danny an American traitor and a communist. They enjoy their job more than your average hunter, showing they're sadistic as well. They have much help from helicopters and by other bloodhounds and are heavily armed. They also hunt in groups and are very skilled at what they do, making them tough adversaries. Project Militia is an organization of mercenaries hired by the project to capture Danny and Leo. Project Militia is an organization that is made up of imprisoned criminals from death row whose executions have been faked in exchange for being hired by the project in their private army. Their existence is plausibly deniable, for they have no actual identity and were recorded dead long ago. All their identifying features have been erased or drastically altered, and their fingerprints and tattoos have been removed as well. Their teeth have also been realigned to mess with dental records, and they are prohibited from having any sort of personal relationship. In short, they are untraceable. Civilians are also hostile towards Daniel as he's a criminal running around. These are family men with wives and children acting as enemies of Daniel. Other than that, they are ordinary people living their lives in Cottonmouth. The project scientists are the staff that operates on experiments for the project. They're not typical killers, they're the scientists responsible for the Pickman project. They also work on animals like monkeys and do research on them as well. Other than that, they are hostile towards Daniel because they know what he's capable of and knows the importance of keeping him in control. Both of the Manhunt titles has some of the most wicked stories ever, but this is where it all ends. Will we ever see the day when we get more of this franchise is a mystery. Thank you for watching. Perfect Enrager signing out.